All right, now we back. We are back again. Let's start this thing over again. Hey, welcome to Real Talk with your boy MRK. Coffee in the morning. That's Martez Raphael Kirkland, and this is
James Dale Merchant.
All right, and we are here. Hey, we back at it on Monday morning, man. We got a show for you, and we're gonna start it from the top. And we already talked about it because we had some technical difficulties. You know, it's real life podcasting. And we're going to talk about the morning inspiration, right? What is the morning inspiration? Real quick, morning inspiration is if you're always trying to be normal, all right, you'll never know how amazing you could be. And that's by Maya Angelou. If you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be. Don't be normal. Be better than the normalcy. All right, don't normalize yourself for who you are and show your specialty. Show how special you are. Like I said before, hey, strive for greatness. Always, you know what I'm saying, try to reach for that top of the mountain. Even if you don't get it, hey, you still gonna be great. You just never know what your potential could be if you actually just stop trying to be what the world says that you are, or you stop trying to blend in. All right. I know some people are content and complacent for that, but I don't think God made you for that. God made you to be as great as you possibly can be. What you think, Dale?
I think one time I heard a quote that kind of that ties into this is that there's a lot of dreams that are just sitting in the graveyard right now. And, that just means that there are a lot of people who live their life, clocking in, clocking out, just going through their regular routine. And they just never came to know who they really were. They just stayed with, this is what's normal, this is what's comfortable, and they never really, and there's probably gifts and talents inside of these people that they never even knew were there.
They haven't been unlocked.
And I think that's true of a lot of people. So yeah, I agree.
So you definitely got to be able to unlock your gifts, your talents, the things that you have inside of you, so you can be able to know that, and showcase your greatness. And showcase your greatness. Okay. But hey, let's go ahead and keep it moving. That is the morning inspiration. If you're always trying to be normal, you never know how amazing you could be, by Maya Angelou. All right. Hey, we're gonna go out to the shout outs for the day. I'll stay with it, but shout outs of the day goes to all the coaches in the community. Like we said before, basketball, volleyball, football coaches. Hey, you guys are, we're gonna give you your flowers, everything that you do and all that you do as far as hold on, yeah, as far as you can say hi on TikTok. Say hi on TikTok. Say hi on TikTok. Yeah, so shout out to all the coaches. I'm a coach myself in the community. I've been doing it for a long time. And it's been rewarding. It's been had some tough times, but it's all about developing, teaching, and coaching and mentoring these young men and women. And hey, shout out to all y'all and everything. Keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. All right. All right. Let's go ahead. We're gonna keep it moving. Next segment is The Point of View by James Dale Merch. Speak your truth, my man. Speak your truth.
Speaking the truth, in the truth, the truth. So, just for a few seconds today, I just want to challenge and urge everybody that's listening today just to kind of take some time to think about this. You go every day in and out. You work on your jobs. And, my thing is this is something that this is a common theme that I come across lately is, we live in a generation where everyone wants to hang out on the surface of things. Just think, what do I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there.
What do you
mean? So right now we live in a generation that is the most probably depressed, suicidal, and anxious or have high anxiety generation that's out that may have ever existed. People getting prescriptions and all this kind of stuff. And and you have to ask yourself why, because and I'll tell you why. One of the things that I've come to learn is that you will see people and they will smile and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And or they'll be around, not even just in public, they will be around people that they know and love and just put on a front and a face. People are very good at pretending, but there's no real need to do that. It's like somehow we've gotten so callous to thinking that saying that I got something going on, or I'm feeling a certain emotion. It's a weakness. And I think our generation that we live in has actually gotten even more about it, because our generation that we're in now with social media and things, the tools that we have teach the projection of whatever image that we got, and we have to protect that image at all costs. So my thing is that, hey man, look, I'm not saying you got to go to work and then find a coworker and talk to them, but what I am saying is before you go to your job or wherever you're going in life, seek out a good friend, someone that you can actually talk to and open up. Because I talk with people every day. And we was talking about this just not real recently, man. I talk to people every day, and they got all this stuff clogged up inside of them. And well, where does it ever have a space to come out at? And if it doesn't, well, I think you're going to be in trouble. I think you're going to be in some real trouble if you don't ever have some type of outlet to let those things go. Because the more you pretend, you actually start defending the stuff that you pretend.
It start becoming reality for you?
Yeah, it starts becoming reality to you. Like you actually,
what's not real is actually real. It starts, building your head is like, yeah, this is real.
This is real. Yeah, this act that I got going on, and got everybody fooled and convinced that you're, this tough person, or this, whatever image that you may be projecting, it becomes real to you when inside you walking around a corpse, falling apart.
Well, that's because, and if I can interject,
you can, of course.
The world that we live in, it is looked upon as weak, especially in men. I think we talked about this the other day about women have a better probably support system in a circle to be able to be open and honest and vulnerable. But if you're just talking about the person that you're passing by or the person that you're working with, we most likely did it, and I know I did it.
We've all done it
in my career in the military. When you went into work, you put on that shield, and you had to be tough, and you had to be this and that and everything. You didn't want nobody that you didn't want them to know that you were dealing with this, because if you talk about certain things now, oh, he's weak, he's not a strong leader, especially if you're in those leadership positions. So it's not the world that we live in is not a safe place, honestly, for anybody to be vulnerable, because the world can be cruel. We got some comments here, so
yeah,
let's
at these comments. What they
got. We got Lisa Merchant. She said I'm applying for the manager CFO agent for MRK. Okay, that's what's up. Appreciate that. And then I can't say the name. Kanistra says hello. And then Lisa says, no one wants to be vulnerable. I will ask you this: why not? Because when we are in situations and safe places to be vulnerable, don't we feel better about ourselves when we're able to open up? I think as humans, we everybody has emotions, everybody has fears, everybody goes through adversity, and what's happening right now in this time, this day and age, that especially with young people, they don't have an outlet. The social media says that you have to be this, so they can't speak on certain situations because they will be looked upon in a way of being weak, in a way of, then it's not cool. So they bottle everything in, and then you have it is a heightening of what suicides, you know, mental instability. And because we don't foster safe places.
No, well, we don't foster safe places. I still just blame it back on. If I'm gonna be real with you, man, I blame it on one thing. I blame it on pride.
Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger.
It's a lot of times it's easier to talk to strangers, but how many times is that the people actually do that? And they don't.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a small percentage.
It's a small percentage. I've been in situations, man, where me and my wife one time, she's on here. But one time we were at a bar, and we decided to get our plate at the bar, you know what I'm saying? Because there was no real places to eat, no seats available. And what happened was we were just talking. There was this man next to us. And you could tell, man, your boy, he definitely had his share of the strong drink.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, yeah, he got a little tipsy. He wasn't too crazy though.
Okay.
But what I learned, all of a sudden we got to talking, and he saw me put my hand on my wife's hand. Whatever happened, that triggered something in him, and he just got to talking. He just got to talking about, like, you know, how long y'all been married? He was curious. Then he got to talking about his life. And before you know it, this guy was talking about his whole life. Now, I know some of you out there like, well, this fool was drunk. No, I mean, I guess we could say that, but I've been around drunk people who still got problems.
Yeah, they still won't open up.
And they still like, no, I think it was a lot deeper than that. He found an opportunity to where he could speak without judgment, without whatever, and then he was able to talk. So I'm just saying, I think that, you know, I always link this back in though. It's easy to talk to a stranger. I think too, because I just think a lot of it is just rooted in pride. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you know.
That's what Lisa said. Lisa said pride. She also said fear of being disappointed by the person you are vulnerable with.
That's why it's easy to talk to a stranger, I believe, because you don't have to worry about
you
their
don't feel their judgment.
You don't feel their judgment. And this is gonna be controversial, but there's a lot. I think a lot of the things that are being held on to, in most cases, you kind of need someone that's gonna talk with you through it and maybe tell you the truth. Because maybe,
well, I'm gonna be honest, that's what society,
they don't want to hear that.
In relationships, friendships, romantic relations, family dynamics, that's what's missing. Nobody wants to say the truth.
Nobody wants to say the truth, but
because they're scared of offending someone.
But when you're in a real relationship with a person, like me and this man done known each other going on 11, 12 years, right? But the thing is that when you know somebody and they tell you the truth, you're not you're more to accept it because you understand that this person's telling you this from a place of love. Go ahead.
And if a person has the emotional understanding of that person that is telling them the right things that they need to hear and not what they want to hear,
right? That's what I'm getting.
They can be able to accept it,
right?
But there's a lot of people, family, mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, friend, girlfriend, wife, whatever. There's a lot of times when we are speaking the truth, and the delivery is a big thing too, how we deliver.
What it is, I got you.
But in some instance, man, people don't want to. What is it? The Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. You can't handle the truth because the truth. Nobody wants to hear the truth because the truth hurts. Because nobody wants to really. The pride look at themselves in that way. They don't want to face the reality.
They don't. And that's why that's why I always say it's rooted. A lot of this stuff is rooted in pride. While we stay out on, like how it started, while we stay on the surface, is because we don't. A lot of the times, it's just easier to hang out on the surface because all that stuff that's built up, it's hard to face it. And sometimes you need a person that's going to tell you what's going on and help pull that stuff out of you and face it, versus you just wanting to put on the show. That
you said it.
Who said that?
Erica said a lot of people don't have the emotional intelligence to handle hard conversations, And that's what I said, emotional something, but the emotional intelligence, they don't have it. And is it their fault? Yes and no. But once you reach to an age of understanding or age of, being able to, be able to, I guess, get information and knowledge yourself, then I believe it is your fault. Some people are just so stuck in their ways and not willing to want to change. And that's part of changing. It's part of like, okay, how can I reach a level to be able to understand, compromise, have empathy, sympathy, be able to listen to what it is that person is telling me, that cares for me, that loves me, and understand that they are coming from a place of concern and care, instead of like looking at them when they're speaking on these things, that they're combating them, they're talking to them in a way of trying to put them down. And that's not always the case. Again, we say it, the truth hurts. Nobody wants to hear the real truth, because we all look at ourselves in a different way. If you ask somebody how you look at yourself, most likely it's going to be like, I look at myself, I think I'm this and I'm that, and then some other people, they're going to tell you something different.
Now, with that being said, this was me speaking. This all stemmed from me speaking my truth, just saying that was the point of view. This was coming from my point of view. However, I think it's time for us, because this is a great segue, man, to go into the actual topic of the day, because this goes right into it.
We might as well get into it.
We might as well just open it up, because this really just primes that whole point even more. So Martez, hit us up.
Yeah, we got a hot topic of the day, right? Why do we allow people in our lives that we have to suppress our feelings? Why do we have to suppress our feelings with the people that we have in our lives? The people that we have in our lives, right? Shouldn't they be the people that we are able to be the most vulnerable with? The people that we should be able to open up and be honest with? The people that says they love us, they ride and die for us, they'll do anything for us. But let's be honest, relationships fall and relationships deteriorate because people don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to have those hard discussions. And then the things that somebody, when they open up and they come to you, when they're vulnerable, when they do have those discussions, you judge them, you look down on them, you tear them down, and then there's a big eruption in the fight and everything. So because guess what? There's a lack of emotional intelligence to be able to have the hard conversations. The only way that you can be able to have great, true, lasting relationships is talk about the hard things. Talk about the hard, not the surface things. No, talk about the hard things.
No, absolutely, man. Like, bro, like I have learned that here's what starts to happen. There's this thing, what is it? What's the word I'm looking at? There's this thing called, and you've been through certain, training and courses and stuff like that, but there's this thing called avoidance. Yeah, right. This is it and I'm really glad who was that who brought that up? Because I mean, we was gonna bring it up anyway, but the emotion lacking that emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Here's what usually ends up happening is that there's an avoidance, and it's like me and these people, we were friends at this point in our lives, and we went through X, Y, and Z, whatever situations we went through, and most relationships are built off of. There's a theologian called C.S. Lewis who said most friendships start off with one word. That's you too. What does that mean? Is that common bond?
A relative.
There you go. Most friendships or relationships, period, start with a connector point where it's like saying, hey, like I like Picasso, and we're both standing at this art exhibit, and then this person shares their relative thoughts toward whatever piece of art that you're looking at, and then they say I like, you say you like it, and you give what you like on it, and then it's like you too, you see that too, right? And there's this place of relatability where we kind of where it brings us together. That's not a bad thing, right? Hey, you like art, I like art. We both are very fond of this. where the critical breakdown I've learned takes place is that, you know, let's just say 2 or 3 years goes on and your relationship is built on the art. Well, after what usually happens is that now, let's just say after 3 or 4 years of your relationship can build off of your mutual love for art, then let's just say you find out that, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Someone on TikTok, Jersey Baby 25. What's going on? Welcome back.
Yeah,
can I ask a question? Go ahead and ask a question. We'll definitely go ahead and answer your question. And also on I'm not sure if it's YouTube or what platform.
What you got?
Neither, I can't even say the name.
Yeah, you gotta watch. Yeah, so we'll get to going sometime.
Yeah. People have a tendency, she says, or he says, people have a tendency to upload their problems on strangers. Yes. You don't care if strangers judge you or not. You most likely won't see them again. That is true.
That is true.
Lisa Merchant says, sometimes we need a little bit more time to figure out if this person is going to be friend or a confidant.
That, we will, that comes a little bit later.
So friend and confidant is two different things.
That's very much two different things, but that's, you know, that's for the next, you know, in a little bit.
And then Arroyo Joe, you shouldn't be suppressing your true feelings with your loved ones.
And I listen, we agree with that. But go ahead, man. Get it.
Families across the world, relationships across the world, it is happening. Why do you think there's so many divorces? The divorce rate is so high, right? Because there's a lack of communication. So when there's a lack of communication, it means both individuals cannot be vulnerable with each other. They're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to hear each other out, because when that person says whatever, there's a judgment. There's a consequence. I can't believe you said it. I was speaking to my brother yesterday. He was both on TikTok Live, and we was talking about, in the instance of a man we was talking about men, we do need a safe space. And I'm not saying women, you guys have that totally too, but men, we need a safe space to be able to come to our wife, our woman, to be able to speak on anything and everything. And I'm hung up saying, a lot of women don't like it, right? But honestly, he loves you, he cares for you, you guys got a solid relationship, you think, and he comes to you and said, "Babe, I've been having these emotions and these feelings that, hey, I'm thought to be attracted to this person." That's an honest. He's
being real.
He's being real. But let's be honest, and I picked that because that's probably the heightened of any type of topic.
I feel like that's a very drastic one,
that's the one. That's one that actually dissolves a lot of marriages. It dissolves a lot of marriages, whether it's intimacy, finance, kids. Those are the three top things. It's real, and the reason why these things happen, and for women, is because you guys cannot talk to each other in an open dialogue without consequences. If I, not say this, but hey, he was my wife, and I'm like, look, I've been going through this and this. You know what's going to happen? Most of the time, I can't believe you. I thought you loved me. How dare you? And this is just what I'm feeling. I'm opening up my heart, my mind. It's to even speak on that. There's certain things in certain situations, friendship and family dynamics.
Right.
Can't say certain things because of tradition or how granddad or grandma or how and everything, because they don't want to change. They're stuck in their ways. So therefore, the communication is already broke down, and it's only on the surface because we want to say things just to keep everybody happy. And I might be dealing with something that has been building up for me for years, but I can't get it out because I don't feel safe to say that and talk to you about those things because I already know how it may go. You're not going to accept it. You're going to cast judgment down on me. And families across the world is dealing with stuff like that. People across the world is dealing with stuff like that. We are not able to be safe and be vulnerable in our relationships that we have with people because people are not emotionally intelligent and ready for those type of conversations.
No, I think, well, kind of going back into, I know you had to take care of something real quick, but
I take care of my dog. I got a 6-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You fine, man.
I forgot today was President's Day, so I got her up at 6:30 in the morning, and we got ready for school. And I'm taking her to the bus stop, and I'm like, "It's a ghost out here. Like, what's going on? Did I miss something?" Like, I was like, "Oh," and she was like, "What's wrong,
what
Daddy?
What are you doing here?"
Oh, I looked on the count. It's President's Day. Cumberland County schools, they're off. Turn back around. Well, I'm not going to school. No, not today. So I just told her go back and go back to bed. She's up now. She's up. She won't go back to bed. She took a bath. She ate. She got dressed. And so now she won't bother me. I'm sorry, man.
It is.
I'll be looking forward to her when she goes to school.
And they know that. I mean, look, we all love our kids, right? But let's just be real. Like they consume a lot of energy from you. So a lot of times that break that you get at school, because it becomes a break, it gives you a time to mentally recharge. But moving on.
We're gonna stay on topic.
But moving on, to kind of go back into what you were saying, I have to go back to to a point where, you know, before you had to grab Majore, I was just saying, like, you know, how relationships even start, one, because the whole topic, right? People we're like, why do we let people into our lives that we have to suppress our feelings? You know, whether it's friendships or relationships, right? And I was just basically saying how all relationships start. I used a quote from an author named C.S. Lewis, a theologian, and he was saying how all relationships tend to start with "I like you too," and what that means is that there's a mutual thing that connected us. And I can think of relationships that I've had with other, you know, with friends and things like that, and like a place of connection may become, you know, we just typically mesh and like having fun together. Like we go out, we go bowling, we go putt golf, and none of this stuff is bad. The problem comes in is that after 3, 4, 5 years of the relationship being built on that, here's what happens.
There's no progression.
Not only is there no progression, there's no substance. And so when something happens,
tired of playing video games all the time.
Yeah, you like all of a sudden maybe we playing video games and all something like all the time. And we started this with the surface, right? Then something real happens. Like, I don't know, me and so we happen to have you know, they may have haven't had hard time with their spouse, right? Yeah. And that's taken a lot. I'm just throwing an example out there.
Those friends to go to
and now you're thinking maybe on the other side, boy, this is my boy, right? Or this is my homegirl, and your homegirl has got it going on, and now
homegirl is always all you do is go party with,
right? All you do, whether it's party or it could be something not even that drastic, or y'all just this is your person, like I say. Y'all go golfing together all the time, or y'all this is what y'all do, right? Or y'all always barbecue together. Well, what happens is this person, you guys have been friends built on, well, something superficial for 3 or 4 years. Now that this person is having some real problems, they think, like, I have to keep the mask on.
Show that face of
I have to continue to show this image that I've been projecting to this person, instead of letting them know, like, I got real things going on, man. You know what I'm saying? I got some real issues. So then it's like I don't want, and some of the things I'm telling you right now, I've learned that 2 things that keep people from doing this, from opening up: pride and self-pity actually live together. They're cousins. And what I mean by that is, like, you can see people will suffer in silence and sit up here and just, hi, how you doing?
Oh yeah.
But that's self-pity.
Put on that face.
They put on that face, and they will be just suffering as they want to be. But then you show up, something magical happens. It's like, you know, I'm not, you know, they pretend. But to kind of stay on, how does this connect with everything? And then that mutual thing of how we even met together and things like that. And we have to pretend. It's not that we allow people that we have to pretend in. It's a progression. It's a progression. It's the genesis of all this stuff is we build stuff on a superficial basis. The relationship started, and I
I think
you know, I won't even say superficial.
It's accidental.
There you go. Most times it's actually accidental. Like because ain't nothing wrong with two people, friends, or a man and a woman meeting each other and coming together off of whatever this mutual connection is. The critical breakdown begins to happen when you don't think you can talk. You don't think the relationship stays in the sphere.
An instance,
and now it's like I can't suppress my feelings.
What you're talking about, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Whether it's you having an issue with your relationship and you need your homegirl to talk to. In that instance is when you pick up the phone or you see them and you try to bring that issue up. And then you
the other side of the coin.
And that's when you find out where they're at as far as on the level of friendship or what type of friendship you really have.
You really got.
Because then even if they were like, they laugh it off, they're like, oh, you'll be all right. And you're like, no, I really need to get this off my chest.
So that's a level.
And you find out if you can honestly talk to them in that nature, it's something very serious to you. And when in an instance when you're trying to be vulnerable, and when you're trying to be vulnerable and they just kind of like, kind of cast it to the side, that's how you start to separate and categorize. Then you're like, you know what? I have to put them over here. And I think as someone said earlier, are they a friend at that level, or are they an acquaintance? Are they an associate?
Yeah.
Are they a confidant?
Yeah.
You start to find that out in those instances. I'm gonna be honest. As I coach basketball, played and all this stuff. You know, you have that friend where every time they're not even a friend, the associate buddy of the basketball buddy. You go to the court and you see him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You play ball. You play on the same team. Y'all cool. Y'all talk about surface level things, but that's as far as it goes. And you may even have their number, but you ain't calling them. You're not calling them. Because you are trying to portray that person that you are when they see you on the court, when they see you when you go to the gym.
And truthfully, if you leave it, if that's where it stays, that's okay.
That's okay.
That is actually it's okay. But bringing those people in, you have to know. And sometimes it can be a danger zone. I think another layer to this is also when you yourself have been friends with someone for a long time, and then guess what? Hold on. Before I make that point, what did somebody say?
No, it was the lightning.
Oh, okay.
I hit something.
But another point is when everybody got problems. Life is going to be packed with them. But most of the time, a mature person is seeking to grow and to change and to progress and become better. A layer where we start suppressing our feelings with someone is when you say to yourself, man, I want to be different. There are things in my heart and my life that I want to see change. And you start to share these things with people. And then hold on, the
friend that can accept your
change. And not just that, they don't want to change with you. And they actually want to see you stay where they met you at that level of mutual, you know, they don't want to have that. And so now you start guarding yourself around that person because it's like, well, I want to change, but all they want to do is still, you know, have the barbecue or, you know, play video games all day and just do superficial things. And then what's sad is that may have been a 6-7 year friendship. And now a border has to be placed up there.
The reality is that you find out what type of friend the friendship it really was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was never a real friendship.
Really, that's when you like,
it's baffling.
You're like, wow,
like
they really wasn't my friend.
They wasn't your friend.
They were just the guy. You're just the guy that, hey, I've been there. I had a friend that played what's that? Not Mortal Kombat, but the Halo. I'm not a Halo type of dude, but I play video games. And he would invite me over his house to play Halo. Oh man. So I would do it because he was cool and everything, and it got old. I was like, hey man, he would just talk about like, hey. So we kind of just end up fading off. He went this way, I went that way.
The other way.
It was on the surface. It was all on the surface. I played 2K, and I would play 2K. He played with me. He's like, hey man, play Halo. So I come over his house. So the time that when I started going through issues and I was going through a divorce and I was trying to really talk to him about what I was dealing with.
You want more of this?
No, good. I'm
Okay.
good. Thank you. All he wanted to do was really kind of talk about video games. And I was just like, you know what? This friendship is no more useful for me. And I had to move on and separate myself. You know, and sometimes you're going to have relationships like that.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
And really,
it's okay.
Once you categorize something, it's honestly okay to keep it at a certain place.
Yeah.
Like there are people in my life right now that look, I go to their house, we eat, like, you know, we play video games, and I recognize I at first, because I thought maybe because the potential was there for more, but what I started learning, it was like, you know what, this is where this is going to stay.
Yeah, it's probably best.
It's capped out. So let's just keep it here, and you can still gain value from that.
Yeah.
But you have, but the part is that you like have to discern that really quickly.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise we're gonna have what the topic is. You're gonna just have somebody around that you have to suppress yourself around, and now it becomes unhealthy.
And you might start to resent that person. Like resentment can set in. Because
it does set in. It will set in.
Because you're wanting more from the relationship that you're not getting.
You're not getting it.
And why even force it? Why even, hold those expectations over that person's head?
Well, man, I feel like that almost could be elaborated on, but I mean, it's good though.
Elisa, you are rocking this single dad gig. Oh, you talking about what we was talking about? Yeah, I definitely have friends that I will go to for prayer and for serious situations. That's their own insecurities, days. Lisa, yeah, you're exactly right.
Exactly right, man. Thank you, Miss Bootsy.
Miss Bootsy in the house. Bootsy in the house. Miss Bootsy,
also known as my AKA my wife.
So again, as we have a question of the day that goes along with the hot topic too.
And we already there.
We're already there. So
we just scratched it. Go ahead.
We scratched the surface on it. The question of the day is, how do you protect yourself from allowing people getting close to you personally? How do you protect yourself? And I think we already hit on it. We start scratching the surface with it. It's the vetting system. It's
discernment.
Discernment. As you grow in the friendship, or you find out that this is the level that it's only going to go at, then you categorize them and you put them in that department and you keep them there. And like James said, it's okay. It's okay because people come in your life for a reason, for a season, and have a purpose, right? And it's okay. Like I literally have one hand with friends that I can talk to and open up and be vulnerable with. One hand, and it might be like 3 fingers, 4 fingers. I had to learn growing up through my childhood, growing up in young adulthood, that people that I came to find out that I thought was friends and friends that I could trust, friends that I could open up and be open and honest with, that it wasn't that. And I learned early. High school was probably one of the biggest effects on me for that, because a lot of people that know me, I'm very to myself. Even though I may be like out community basketball and stuff, I'm really to myself. I don't allow a lot of people inside my home and family because of trust issues. And I really protect myself that way. I do have a guard and a barrier up, and I'll allow, and I have through my discernment, I see, okay, is this person who I can bring in and open up to, or do I need to just keep them there?
Right.
So that's how I protect, by vetting them through conversation, through how they treat you. I'm gonna be honest, and I think that's one of the best things to see where people stand. See how they treat you. Find out how much they honestly really care for you in a deeper way. And once you start to see that, they would start to put themselves in the place whether it's a confidant or a friend or just an associate or an acquaintance, and then also connection, because you can connect with people on a different level and that are like-minded things that would allow you to be able to be vulnerable because you guys are on the same journey and the same path.
No, bro, that's good. We one of the things I think it's a saying that's out there that I actually hold it pretty dear to my heart. Two things actually. The first one is it's just a saying. It goes, familiarity breeds contempt, and what that means is don't you yourself or allow the other person, don't ever get too familiar with anybody. And what I mean by that is that there's a difference between getting too familiar with the person and getting to know somebody. Because getting familiar means, well, this is just how I see them. This is you just define.
I'm familiar with what I see.
Bingo. I am so familiar with what I see of this person. I'm leaving no room for the rest of the substance of this person to come forth. So now when they do something that's out of my parameters, I see
out
them,
of the norm that you have seen them do.
Yes, then all of a sudden you hold them in contempt. But really what has happened before you is that person's just they're growing, they're changing, things are happening. And that's a big one. The other one is very biblical. As y'all know, me and MRK, I'm calling you MRK the show. Me and Martez, we are both avid believers in Jesus Christ. With that being said, a biblical reference that I will use is from in the book of Proverbs, and it says, above all things, guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of the rivers of life.
Wow. You don't want anything just to enter your heart.
Nope. Guard your heart, people.
That is true.
And that means that you have to protect your mind, your emotions, your spirituality. These are things that have to be well guarded in you when you're dealing with people. So leave your expectations of people on the table. Don't allow yourself to find yourself to be too offended by somebody because of the things that they might say, because they may say some things that are off the cuff. Just expect it instead of expecting them to remain in this place that makes you comfortable,
or in your parameters.
Yeah.
You know what? I do operate in that realm now.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had to learn that though.
I expect people not to meet my expectations.
It took me a while to get there.
And I'm okay with that, because understand this. People are going to be people, and everybody does not have your heart or your spirit.
No.
Right. And I like what you said with the scripture Proverbs, guard your heart. And I feel like, honestly, that's what I've been doing. I've been guarding my heart. I've been guarding my spirit, because the world that we live in and the society that we are in, right? There are people that come to do you harm, and they don't even know it.
Wow.
So therefore, we as individuals, we have to be guarded. We got to be able, and that's how you protect yourself from allowing people getting close to you personally, and you're not able to be vulnerable, and you're not able to open up to them and honestly and be without being judged.
Guard your heart. That means, I think it's actually great that we expound more on it. Guarding your heart looks like, now, well, better yet, let me talk about what it don't look like. Because the unhealthy version of you guarding your heart is protecting your own self-image. That means I project myself this way, and maybe in some ways that may be false. Maybe you're not as tough as you think you are. Maybe you're not as fly. You're a false. You don't make a false representation of yourself and think you're protecting that. You're not guarding your heart at that point. You're protecting your ego, and that's what's really happening. So let's go. So that's the opposite of what protecting your heart actually looks like. Now,
people get so caught up in this world that we live in, protecting the outer shell and not really protecting what's inside. What I protect is who I am to truly be, that I know that God has made me to be.
There you go.
Well, regardless of who you see, Martez, Coach Kirkland, Massar Kirkland, and everything, I've always walked in. I said, you don't truly know who I am and everything. And I'm gonna be honest, I honestly do the opposite. I think I give you what I want you to know about me because I'm scared to give you too much because you might seek in and we talking about spirits on this earth that may come in and take away from who I actually am.
Well, hey, listen, the Bible is said, Jesus Christ himself said, hey, don't cast your pearls before swine or else they will trample over it. In other words, the wisdom that you've gained, the knowledge that you've gained, the insights that you've gained in life, everybody ain't ready for that. So you sitting up there spitting out this knowledge and this wisdom and these things that you've learned and you telling it to a fool, they're gonna, or better yet, let me not even just say a fool, or you're telling this stuff to a person that's not ready for that type of knowledge. They can't receive it. And they're going to walk all over that. They'll make fun of you. And it shuts you down because I've been there 1,000 times where I'm thinking people pretend to be a lot of things. And I'm thinking I'm meeting this insightful, wise person or cool person or just, someone who may be value added. And then they actually sit there and you tell them some deep stuff. And it's like, they just like laugh at you or if they don't even laugh at you like, what you talking about? You're just like, wow, I thought this was going to go completely a different way.
I've had so many fears especially in the Army.
Oh man, yeah, me too.
Being in the Army, of being able to sitting down with a brother like this, and being able to have dialogues and deep thought conversations, because of honestly, they're going to judge you, they're going to look at you differently. Like I told y'all, I believe, in the morning inspiration, you talked about, not being the norm. And
it all ties together.
It ties it together. Not being and finding your place to not accepting what people honestly see of you, or maybe like you said, we may not portray, because we don't portray our whole self. Because why? We are guarded and protecting our heart and our spirit and everything. You can't. I've done it. I don't allow people to see everything. Even now, people are like,
right.
What is he doing? He got a podcast. What is he doing? He does music. What is he doing? Poetry. What is he doing? He done this. This is who I've always been.
There you go.
I'm just, giving you guys bits and pieces, because a lot of times what you say, people can they can take that and they can use it as a weapon. They can tear you down.
Trample all over
they can trample you down.
It doesn't mean anything to them. You're giving them the jewels of your life, and then they just sit there and they'll just spit on it. And that sucks, right? It really does suck. So you have to protect your heart. In doing that, what that looks like is just simply learning who you can talk about with, what you can talk about them. You cannot share everything with everybody. And I was so guilty of that in my younger years, because I think if I could say that about
the same here. I did the same thing.
If I could to say anything about myself, I'm very much so an expressive person. And I love expressing what's going on in my mind and in my heart, and talking about deep things. And I've always been like, even my friends, I was talking to actually one of my childhood friends last night. We kind of reconnected after some years, which was cool. But he was always like, we laughed about it, but it was like, it's like, man, we had a heck of a trio, because you had one dude who's like some crazy thugged out guy. He was this cool as a cucumber player, right. And there I was, the weirdo, because I was always different. But I'm saying that to say, I've always been like that. But so I've always been naturally curious of people. So what I mean is I'm inquisitive. I feel like I could be able to have a meaningful conversation with anybody. That's just how I always was. But you grow, you get older, and you learn you can't. And that's another topic. But in some ways, in gaining wisdom, I've had to learn, I don't know what people have been through to get them to project these false images of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a friend growing up, and she was close friend, and she was very masculine. And that's just how she was. But as I got older, I began to learn about abuse that was happening in her home. And so what that, like, I knew her. So, you know, I was actually, you know, all this stuff started making sense to me. But where I had to come kind of pull her to the side one day was like, why you act like that in front of them, like these others? And I was like, I know that's not you. And she was like, I'm scared they won't, you know, accept. Yeah. She was scared they wasn't going to accept her if she didn't put on it. And I was like, you got to stop doing that. So,
I mean, real talk, when you say she acted masculine, what was it? Was she?
So, yeah. So she ended up becoming, well, yeah, she came out to us.
Okay.
Like she suppressed that side of herself for a long time.
So was it to her family she acted a certain way, or to her
people? Yeah. And I want to clarify something. This wasn't about her sexuality.
Okay.
This was about who I knew she really was.
And you was comfortable. You like, hey,
I know who she was. Like, she was goofy, funny around me and my other friends. But then when we would go around other people, there was this kind of like, yeah, she would act different. And that's why we had to pull her, like, be you.
Right.
You know, yeah, this ain't nothing about her sexuality.
Okay.
It was about her trying to act like this tough, like, and everybody be like, oh man, you know, I ain't gonna say no names because it's a long story.
Right.
But this person, like, man, yeah, she just like, you know, she don't play no games. Like, yeah, I ain't fooling. And it was like, her?
That's not even her.
It's not even her. But and what was cool is, like, you know, she started becoming more the comedian, more the person we knew around people, and that won people over more.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, you know, the whole reason I bring that up is because understanding is very important in a situation, and I'm trying to learn even now how to have understanding, because it helps me to break down people groups and how I can navigate certain people. But I would actually hope that my hopes are that no matter who I'm around in gaining understanding, I can somehow maybe set the stage to where they want to open up. I hope. Now, that's not going to always happen.
I believe everybody deserves that.
I do too.
I believe people deserve that.
But will they take you up on that?
Yeah.
That choice is theirs.
And it may take time for others.
Yeah.
Like, I try to slowly not just judge right off the bat.
It's hard.
It's hard. Even though I still do it in some instances, but I think I'm really good on reflecting and reflection.
I'm just trying to make sure we ain't missing. I seen it lighten up. I just want to make sure we ain't missing.
Liking it. We got over 3,000 likes, man. Appreciate the likes.
Yeah, thanks for the love.
Yeah,
y'all.
but within reflection, I'm pretty good going back and reviewing things and be like, you know what? Okay, now I can see it. And to me, it is all about understanding.
Understanding is key.
Because even though, let's say, you don't agree, you can still understand. Like, a lot of people believe that I don't agree with that, but are you willing to understand me? You can disagree and not agree with something, but you can still understand it.
Whoever put that, that's a big key of having emotional intelligence. Is actually it's a key component is understanding. Part of that. Because you don't have to agree with something, but once you understand something, it just makes everything else like play out, because it's like, I can see how
you're able to listen.
You can listen.
Willing to listen.
Yeah. Even the Bible says that while wisdom is what you should get, it say gain wisdom, the Proverbs, but it says before you gain wisdom, get understanding, because you can't even have wisdom without understanding. Like I want that more than I do wisdom.
Hey, you ever spoke to a person that is wise and don't understand?
Yes, I actually have.
It ain't no such thing as a wise person that don't understand. I'm wise. How are you wise?
But I don't understand
nothing.
Yeah, no.
Like. See, there's three things.
I've seen that before, actually.
With knowledge comes understanding. With understanding comes wisdom.
It's an order in this.
I'm gaining the knowledge. The knowledge that I have received, that I'm getting. Now I'm starting to understand it. And through the understanding and through experiences, I have wisdom.
Hit it, bro.
You can't have either one. You can't say I'm a wise man. I don't understand.
I don't understand nothing.
Man, I don't want to talk. I'm going to talk to that wise fool.
Bruh. Yeah, it don't make no sense.
The wise fool that sits on top of them.
No, I've said, bro. I got to make sure because there's certain, I don't want to say no names. I know a specific man. I'll just leave it like that. That
You know a wise fool.
I do know a wise fool. Stop, because I'm all you almost got me. You almost got me to say it. Like who? I just will say I know a man who is the wisest fool that I know, and he does this because he will sit there and when we have conversations, he's able to populate all these insights, and I'm just like, wow. But then when we start talking about, we start talking in our conversation, you can tell that he has not got no knowledge or understanding on how to actually live this out to where it it populates true wisdom.
Okay.
It's like you got all these insights, but then your regular life.
So he's gained
knowledge, yeah, lots of knowledge, but no understanding because you still making these same mistakes, these same problems. So if you had understood the wisdom that you had, you wouldn't be making these situations. You wouldn't be making these crazy decisions that you make.
Huh? You learn something from it.
I did.
Like not to be hey, let me learn. Let me gain this knowledge. Let me get some understanding so I don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, man. Because this guy's younger than me. So I mean, but I don't think that I don't count age and stuff like this. He's younger, but I'm just like, bro, like, yeah. So yeah, I'm giving that as an example of what that kind of can look like. So yeah.
Wow, the wise fool.
The wise fool. Don't be one.
In the words of the wise fool was said.
The wise fool. What my man, a rapper said this one time. Actually, that's not. They said it, but that's actually wasn't their quote. I've heard that quote. A clock is right. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. I mean, that's the wise fool.
The wise fool. Like,
yeah. Okay. Because you know what it's saying is like, because no matter what, if the clock is broken, it's stuck at one time, and every day it's gonna be 6 o'clock one time, at least once. So anyway, I'm just kind of clowning now.
No, I like it. But hey, again, I hope you guys got some insight from us. Diving into how to protect yourself, and from people that may seem to be your friends and then they're really not, and you're unable to be vulnerable and open up your heart and speak to them in an honest way without being judged. And it says guard your heart, guard your spirit, and have and hopefully you gain that discernment to be able to make those right decisions for that, man. The hot topic of the day, the question of the day. So we definitely gonna move on. We got one more thing we kind of skipped over because we went into the hot topic. Since it's still Black History Month, it is February, the month of February, right? I believe we have about 9 more days of Black History Month. We're gonna pay homage to the Black History Month, and we got a Black History fact. The Black History fact is it's estimated that around 100,000 enslaved people escaped to the North via the Underground Railroad from 1810 to 1850. So 40 years, pretty much about 100,000 enslaved people escaped to the North. And again, I'm gonna be honest, that is something remarkable. I can't even imagine living during those times and basically fighting and struggling for your freedom to be freed. So if you guys understood the the history of the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, she was the one that led, or one of the people, because there was more other people that had a big influence about the Underground Railroad, but she is the figurehead of the Underground Railroad, and how she basically helped free so many slaves to be, to get to the North. And if as far as the routes and what they had to go through, how they had to hide, it was treacherous. And it says 100,000. Do you know how many actually died from trying to be free? That is crazy.
That's actually nuts.
So when we get to February and Black History Month, I'm gonna ask y'all to do this. you guys research things on yourself. You guys can do it. Educate yourself. Become knowledgeable on the history, because Black history is a very, very big part of America.
It is.
If you don't know, it's a very big part of America. We are so much ingrained into how America was built and where we are today.
Yeah. You would be surprised too. I mean, I mean, it's a tough word, but how many things actually got whitewashed, as they say. I just recently learned that. Well, I won't say I actually learned that a couple of years ago, but I'm bringing it just for the show. So Saint Augustine, who in Christian circles is he's an extremely revered theologian, and he had lots of stuff that people read. Pastors and other spiritual leaders have read his works for years. I found out maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Saint Augustine was Black. But no one knows that. He's named. There's a place in Florida named after Saint Augustine. He is one of the oldest religious cities in the world, in Florida, St. Augustine. And no one really knows that this was a Black guy. To this day, I learned 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, and I remember I talked to a guy. He was like, yeah, man. He's like, and it was a white man, and he was like, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, that is something that just no one puts light on.
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. We're saying read for yourself.
The word whitewash, and just being honest, can you imagine how much stuff that has not been told, has been taken out, has been hidden from us, as far as what Blacks have actually done from this country?
Right.
Let's be honest. When we say his story, it's his story. And when history and education was implemented within the, within the society that we're living in, within America, let's be honest, the people that was in control and that was in the powers that be were white Caucasians at the time. Right. This notion of that there was not slaves, or it wasn't like how they say it was, or the racism was really not there. It was. A lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to agree with it. I talked about this on one of the podcasts, on one of my individual podcasts, about it's called the naiveness that this country has, and not really putting light to slaves. Slaves are a part of America, and there were things that happened that was just, unhumane, unjust, and things that were taken away from us. And history was one of those things. So we deep dive into the history books, find out for yourselves about all the things how Blacks contribute to America. You'll be amazed.
I think we're pretty much the only culture as a multifaceted or multicultural as America is. We're the only nation. We're probably the only minority group that doesn't have a sense of our roots. Like you talk to a Hispanic,
we're all over the place.
Yeah, Latino culture, Hispanic culture, man, they can tell you about even from their bloodlines to the things that were accomplished. There's a real strong sense of cultural identity, and yet for the Black American, there seems to just continue to be this loss.
Slaves.
And it just stops at a certain point. So again, like you say, because it's a topic in and of itself.
Maybe we'll hit on that. Maybe the last few days of Black History Month, where we can really deep dive into, the historical placement of African Americans, Black people in America. We can get into that. But again, check it out. Remember, it's estimated that around 100,000 enslaved people escaped to the North in the Underground Railroad from 1810 to 1850. That's a lot. That is a lot from that time frame. And remember, I said there was a lot of people that got caught, a lot of people that died in doing so. All right, so man, let's go ahead and move on. Man, we're gonna go to the closing remarks. Man, it's been good, man. I think we great conversation, great dialogue. One inspiration by Maya Angelou was definitely a great. The hot topics, the question of the day. Why do we allow people in our lives that we have to suppress our feelings? Question of the day: how do you protect yourself from allowing people getting close to you personally? And I hope we kind of expounded on some things that maybe open up your mind and allowed you to kind of reflect on your situations and being able and also we give you some type of advice to how you can handle those situations. So just remember, man, hey, be great. You know what I'm saying? Live life, you know what I'm saying, till its fullest. All right, be real with yourself, be open, be honest, and that's the best way. I'm Martez Raphael Kirk.
And I'm James Dale Merchant.
This is Real Talk with MRK. Hey, coffee in the morning, man. Until next time, hey, we're going to see you guys next Monday. I'll see y'all tomorrow, all right? So, hey, hey, take care.